Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Bagas Tegar Badraviata, and here I want to present about regenerative braking system on the Toyota Innova Zenix hybrid car and relationship with energy conversion system. Focusing on three things: how the system works step by step, the key equation that describes the energy conversion process, and the main components involved, and how this topic connects directly to the energy conversion system course in mechanical engineering. What is regenerative braking? Let's start with the basic concept. In a conventional vehicle, when you brake, the kinetic energy of the moving vehicle is converted mostly into thermal energy at the brake pads and discs. This is why brakes get hot. In a hybrid vehicle like the Innova Zenix HEV, the system tries to recover part of that kinetic energy by using the traction motor as a generator. So, during deceleration, instead of turning all that energy into heat, the vehicle converts it into electrical energy and then stores it in high voltage battery. So, regenerative braking is basically an energy recovery mechanism from mechanical energy to electrical energy and then to chemical energy. However, regenerative braking is not always enough and not always possible. Therefore, the system uses a combination of regenerative braking torque and friction braking torque from the conventional hydraulic brakes. This combination is called brake blending. Now moving to the system overview. Now let's walk through the sequence of events when the driver presses the brakes pedal. Step 1 is where the brake demand detection. When the driver presses the brake pedal, sensors measure the pedal movement, often called pedal stroke or pedal positioning, and also detect the brake switch signal. The vehicle then interprets this input as a braking request. This is not just apply hydraulic pressure directly. In hybrids, the control is more advanced. The system decided how much braking should come from the motor generator and how much should come from the friction brakes. Step 2 is the control decision or brake blending. The brake control issue often associated with ABS and vehicle stability control calculates the total braking torque needed to meet the driver's requested deceleration. Conceptually, we can express the total braking torque as T brake and total equals T regen plus T friction, where T brake total is the total braking torque demanded, T regen is the regenerative braking torque produced by the motor acting as generator, T friction is the braking torque from the hydraulic friction brakes. The ECU tries to maximize the T regen as long as safety and system limits allow it, because regenerative braking improves efficiency. And step 3 is the energy recovery path. If regenerative braking is permitted, the wheels drive the drivetrain backward, the traction motor is forced to rotate, the motor acts as a generator and produces electrical power, the inverter converts the controls to the power, and the high voltage battery charges. And the step 4, the last one, is the friction brake support or takeover. If regen is limited, such as during very low speed, very hard braking, or when the battery is near full, the system increases the friction, where transition should be smooth so the driver feels consistent braking. So the whole process is a real-time control problem. Meet braking demand while maximizing energy recovery without compromising stability, safety, or component constraints. And when regen is limited, why can we always regenerate? This is important. Regenerative braking has limits. Limitation 1 is low vehicle speed. At very low speed, the generator rotational speed is low. and the system cannot generate meaningful power. That's why friction brakes perform the final stop. And limitation 2 is high braking demand. If the driver brakes hard, the required torque may exceed what the motor generator can provide. Friction brakes must supply the additional torque. And limitation 3 is battery constraints. If the battery state of charge SOC is high, the battery cannot accept much more energy. Also, battery temperature affects charge acceptance. And limitation 4 is tire grip and stability control. During ABS or stability control events, braking must be carefully controlled at each wheel so to prevent slip, regenerative braking typically work through the driveline and may not independently control each wheel. So the system may reduce regen to prioritize stability. So again, brake bending is the key idea. A hybrid vehicle is always balancing energy recovery and vehicle safety. And this is the key equation to describe the regenerative braking. Now we connect the system to engineering fundamentals. In an energy conversion system course, we always ask, what form of energy do we start with? What form do we end with? And what are the losses? First one is kinetic energy that is available to recover. The vehicle kinetic energy is AK equals half times M times V squared, where AK is the kinetic energy in joules, M is the mass in kilogram, V is the velocity in m per second. This equation shows something crucial. The kinetic energy increases with the square of speed. That means braking from high speed contains much more energy than braking from low speed. If we want more accurate total, we can include rotational kinetic energy with A rot equals half times I times W squared, where I is the moment of inertia of rotating parts in kilogram meter squared, and W is the angular speed in rad per second. But for a first level analysis, the translational term is already very informative. And then the braking force and deceleration. We're using the Newton's second law, which F brake equals M times A, where F brake is the braking force, A is the deceleration. So if the driver asks for a stronger deceleration, the system must supply higher braking force. And then there's also the torque at the wheel, where force at the tire multiplied by wheel radius, where T wheel equals F brake times Rw, where T wheel is the wheel braking torque in Newton meter, and Rw is the effective wheel radius. This connects vehicle dynamics to torque requirements. And then there's also mechanical braking power. Power is the rate of energy conversion. Mechanical power during braking is P mechanical equals F brake times V, or equivalently, P mechanical equals T times W, where P mechanical is the mechanical power in watts and T is the torque in Newton meter, and W is the angular speed in rad per s. This is the power that in a conventional car becomes mostly heat in the brakes. In a hybrid, part of this becomes electric power. And then there's also motor generator relationship, where T in generative braking, the traction motor acts as a generator. A simplified torque relation is T regenerative equals KT times I, where T regen is the regenerative torque in Newton meter, and KT is the torque constant in N times M per A. And also I is the current in ampere. This means the inverter controls current to control regen torque. Also, generator voltage relates to speed through back EMF, where E equals K E W, where E is the back EMF in volts, KE is the back EMF constant in V as per rad. This shows why the speed matters. Higher speed produce higher inducted voltage, enabling more power generation up to the system limits. And then there are also the electrical power and battery charging. Electrical power is P electrical equals P times I, where P electrical is electrical power in watt, V is the voltage in V, I is the current in ampere. Electrical energy stored in the battery over time is E battery in equals integral P charge dt. So if the power is maintained longer, more energy is recovered. And then there's also efficiency of regenerative braking. Not all kinetic energy ends up stored in the battery. We define the recovery efficiency in N regen equals E battery per in per A per delta E Finkel. And often we approximate the system efficiency as a chain A regens equals N motor per gen times N inverter times N battery. There are losses at each stage where copper losses I square times R in the motor windings, switchings and condition losses in inverter, and also battery internal resistance and mechanical loss, and mechanical losses in driveline components. So, regenerative braking is a classic example of energy conversion with losses exactly like we study in energy system. And now we're moving to the components of the regenerative braking system and their function. Now I will summarize the main components involved. First one is the brake side component in control and friction. First one is the brake pedal sensor and brake switch. The function is to detect the driver braking demand. Then there's also brake control ECU or skid control ECU. It is to calculate the required braking torque and performs brake blending. It is also handles safety functions like ABS and stability control. And then there's also brake actuator, or you can call it pump, accumulator, and valves. The function is to modulate the hydraulic pressure smoothly and support the controlled braking even when the regen is active. And then there's also friction brakes like this caliper and pads. The function is to provide braking torque when the regen is insufficient and provide the final stop at very low speed. And then the last one is the wheel speed sensors and stability sensors. The function is to provide feedback for ABS and stability control to prevent wheel lock and maintain directional stability. And now we're moving to the second system, the hybrid electrical components. And there's traction motor. The function is to work as a motor during acceleration and as a generator during regenerative braking. And then there's also power control unit or PCU or inverter. It is to controls the current and voltage, enabling the motor to generate electricity and directing that power to the battery. And then there's also high voltage battery and battery management. The function is to store recovered electrical energy and enforces limits like SOC and temperatures. And then there's also DC to DC converter. It is to supply the 12-volt electrical loads by converting high voltage power down to low voltage power. And then the last one is the hybrid control ECU, the power management. The function is to coordinate overall hybrid operation and communicates with the brake ECU to ensure stable and efficient blending. And now we're moving to the final part, the connection to the mechanical engineering course, energy conversion system. Finally, let's connect this to energy conversion system. Regenerative braking is a perfect case study because it concludes energy analysis where kinetic energy reduction and energy balance and also electric machines where the torque current relations and back EMF behavior. And then there's also power electronics in inverter control, DC bus management, and conversion losses. And then there's also thermal and loss mechanism where I squared R and switching loss and also the battery losses. And the last one is the control system where the brake bending and the stability constraint in real time. So regenerative braking is not just a feature, it's a complete application of energy conversion engineering. In one sentence, the InnovaZenix hybrid uses regenerative braking to convert part of the vehicle kinetic energy into electrical energy and store it in the battery, improving overall efficiency while maintaining the safe braking through brake blending. And that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.